Alright guys, tonight we're going to be playing the green-white Renown deck. This is the main card to consider when you're building a deck. It is Citadel Castellan. It's a 3-mana 2/3 with Vigilance, so it doesn't tap when it attacks, and it has Renown too. So when it deals combat damage to a player, if it's not Renowned, put 2+1/+1 counters on it, and it becomes Renowned. So it becomes a 4/5 Vigilant, which is pretty fucking insane. The artwork is also stellar on this card. You know, I don't say that very often because I'm not one of those artwork fanatics, but this one is just really good. But anyway, yeah, so the Renown means, you know, you hit the other guy, you get a +1/+1 counter equal to its Renown value. So in this case, it's 2. And it, you know, just hitting the opponent makes your creature better. So it's obviously lended more to an aggro strategy. So we're mostly this mechanic is found in green and white. It is in red a little bit, but not quite enough to be worth going there. So let me show you the deck. All right, we're going to play one Kydian Hero of Akros. It is an Elite Vanguard, which I will show you first. It is a 1-mana 2/1 vanilla creature, no special abilities, but it's 2 power for 1 mana. We're playing aggro. That is awesome. I mean, 2 power for 1 mana. That is the baseline for 1-drops. You know, that's where you want to be. So we're going to play 3 Vanguards. We can't play 4 because they're uncommon. So we play Kydian. This is number 4, and he has some different abilities. Obviously, he can become Gideon Battleforged. You know, so he can have all these fancy abilities, but for the most part, he's a Vanguard, so we're not even going to really talk about his Planeswalker side, because that's a bonus, you know, and his activated ability helps him flip. But at the end of the day, that's Elite Vanguard number 4. I mean, I don't play that for the Planeswalker side at all. Alright, so Sunblade Elf, we've also got a 1-mana 1/1, but it gets +1/+1 as long as you control planes, so it's a 1-mana 2/2. Now you look at Elite Vanguard, it's a 1-mana 2/1, which, like I said, is a pretty awesome creature. A 1-mana 2/2 is even better because, I mean, 2/2s for 2 are the standard, so 2/2s for 1 are amazing. And this guy even has a 5-mana activated ability that buffs your whole team. This card is really good. It's actually really good. But the only problem that I have with him in this deck is that I'm playing so much white. You know, I've got the irregulars here, which have a double white cost, double white activated ability. I've got a triple white in Archangel of Ties. We'll talk about these in a minute. But I'm only playing 6 green sources, 6 basic forests, I'm sorry. I'm playing 12 green sources, but only 6 basic forests. So there's very little chance of you actually getting this guy out on the first turn. But it doesn't really matter, because like I said, he has that 5-mana activated ability. And later on in the game, you know, you can, on your 3rd turn maybe, you can play a 2-drop and then follow up with this guy to spend your 3rd mana and get a 2/2 and advance your board that way. So, I mean, ideally we want to play one of these white 1-drops on the first turn. Sometimes you'll get to cast Sunblade Elf, but usually he's a turn 3 or 4 play. You just weave him into your mana curve when you have an unspent mana later on. We're also going to play Consul's Lieutenant. It is a double white 2/1 first striker with Renown 1. We already talked about what Renown does, but this guy here, you know, if it's Renowned, when it attacks, it gives +1/+1 to all your other creatures. You know, Sunblade Elf buffs all your other creatures. This is a creature-based aggro deck. And yeah, a 2-power first striker. If you get this down on the 2nd turn and you swing with it, there's pretty much nothing on the other side that's going to be able to deal with it other than a Peerless Mirror, which of course is everywhere. But still, you're trading 2-drop for 2-drop, and you can't get caught up in the whole fact about, oh my god, my opponent played Peerless Mirror. Just swing into it, trade, and after the trade happens, drop another 2-drop. You know, just get over it. Peerless Mirror and Consul's Lieutenant. 2-drop for 2-drop. Don't be afraid to make the trade. Totem Freeblade. We've got 2-mana 2/2 Vigilance with Renown 1. Also an extremely good card. The Vigilance is insane, especially with Nimbus Wings, which we're not playing in the deck, but we do have Grasp of the Hieromancer. But, I mean, you know, 2/2 for 2 Vigilance. Superb card. Renown 1, make it a 3/3. Gets even better. Playing Undercity Troll. You've seen this in the Simic Tempo deck if you follow my channel at all. Another 2/2 for 2 with Renown 1, similar to Totem Freeblade. Instead of having Vigilance, this guy has Regenerate, which costs 3 mana. It's expensive, you know, to hold open that much mana, but you can do it before you swing. And there are times you'll want to do that. So, I mean, you know, it's a bear. It has upside in terms of Renown, and it has more upside in terms of it has an ability. Same thing with this. It's a bear. It has upside, i.e. Vigilance, and upside, i.e. Renown. So, I mean, these are just great cards. Grasp of the Hieromancer. This is my favorite card in the whole archetype. It is a 2-mana enchantment. You know, enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has, whenever this creature attacks, tap target creature defending player controls. So you get the +1/+1. You tap down a blocker, and you renown your guys. You trigger renown on this guy and this guy. You let this guy attack more freely. I mean, it just makes your life better to have Grasp of the Hieromancer. It's sick. It's really, really good. Also going to play Valyrian Wardens. It's a 3-mana 1/3. Not that impressive in terms of stats, but it does have Renown too, so if you hit with it, it'll become a 3/5, which is, that's good for 3 mana. And whenever a creature you control becomes renowned, draw a card. So it triggers itself. If you hit with this card, it'll trigger itself, you'll draw a card, but also you can just play it and then swing with an Undercity Troll or a Totem Freeblade, and if you connect, hey, they become renowned, you draw a card. So Valyrian Wardens is kind of like a Mentor of the Meek style card. It needs help, but if you can get the engine rolling, then it's really good. Citadel Castellan, we already talked about this gal. Pretty fucking sick. Love the artwork on that. Oh, fuck, love it. Wild Size, 3 mana. Target creature gets +2/+2 and gains trample until end of turn, draw a card. Instant speed, so you can use this on defense to draw a card and as a combat trick as a last resort. But mostly you just want to pump up one of your guys. The trample will let them renown since they do deal combat damage to a player. And the cantrip is certainly very welcome because aggro decks tend to struggle with card draw. Not going to play the full 4 because you really only want one of these, but you do tend to want one. So we'll stick to 3 copies. Archangel of Ties. I've had this card in and out and in and out and in and out of this deck multiple times. It's a 4-drop with an extremely prohibitive mana cost. It has 3 power, so it dies to Reave Soul. But the ability is just so good, and it has flying, and it has 5 on the backside. So, I mean, I think you got to play it. I don't know. Maybe there's a better card here, but if it doesn't die to Reave Soul, which it does if your opponent has it, but if they don't have it, then it doesn't die to Languish, and it does 3 in the air. It taps down, the abilities. I mean, if it's untapped, they have to pay mana to attack you, and if you're attacking, they have to pay mana to block. So it fits the game plan of what this deck wants to do. So, I mean, we've got to put it in there, unfortunately. I mean, if it wasn't for that triple white, if that was 2 white, I wouldn't even have any type of quandary over whether or not to include this card. But that triple white, I keep staring at it right now. Right now, I want to cut the card. I want to cut it right now. I see triple white. I say, fuck, I can't cast it. But it's only one off. We're going to keep it. All right, moving on. Gideon's Irregulars. It's a 4-mana 4/3. This card is a bomb. It has Renown 1, so, I mean, it'll become a 5/4 if it connects. But that ability right there, that is insane. And it's also, I mean, I've skewed my mana base heavy into white for this ability, because you can tap target creature at instant speed. So, I mean, if you hold up in your mana during your opponent's turn, you can activate this twice, and then when you untap, you can activate it twice more, tap down 4 guys, and that will generally win you the game on the spot to tap 4 creatures. Because, you're going to have creatures of your own, and you're going to be pressuring them on the early turns. So, since I've skewed my mana base into white for this, I've told myself that this is castable. We shall see. We shall see. I'm going to play 1 copy of Hix's Prison Warden, because this guy's insane. Why is he insane? He's a 5-mana 4/4 with haste. Doesn't say haste anywhere on the card, but he has flash. You just cast him at your opponent's end step, and boom, 4/4 on the field that they didn't see coming. So in a tight race, they swing all out at you. You make some key blocks. Flash this guy in, and then you kill him on the backswing. But he also has a nice ability, so if you flash him in after your opponent's declared their attack, then maybe you can eat a whole battlefield and stick him underneath Hixus and just win that way. So I mean, this card is really good. He's legendary, he's situational, but he's definitely playable. He's a really good card. And we're also going to play Outland Colossus because, I mean, we're playing 24 land in this deck. Because of our curve, we're playing Wild Size. We don't have all that many 2-drops. We still have a lot of 3s. And we're playing a couple of 4s. Plus, we have the activated abilities on Gideon's Irregular. So we want to be able to, sink mana into that. We want to be able to play Wild Size and build our board. So we need 24 lands in this deck. So why not jam in some extra 5-drops, since this guy is, again, he's our Renown. Like the theme that we have for the deck, he's a 6/6 for 5 mana, which is just brutal. He can't be gang blocked. And when you Renown him, he becomes a 12/12. And, I mean, there's no reason to not play this card in a 24 land deck if you're playing green. I guess there is a reason if you're not playing a deck that wants to attack, but this deck, again, is full of creatures. The whole goal of this deck is to attack, and we're playing 24 lands in a green deck that wants to attack. Boom, Outland Colossus probably should be your first 2 card in there. So yeah, as far as the mana base goes, I'm not playing Rogue's Passage. I was, and I kept it in there for a long time because of Colossus, but at the end of the day I realized that I needed white mana for the irregulars and to let me play Archangel of Tithes. So I decided to go up to 18 white sources. You know, we've got the 12 planes. Also, the 12 planes is good with Sunblade Elf, so when we finally do cast it, it's pretty much always going to be a 2/2. And, you know, we've also got all 4 tap lands. Probably, you know, probably some people aren't going to agree with that since I'm playing 7 1-drops. But I'm not planning to cast Sunblade Elf on the first turn. If I do get to, that's great. But I'm not planning to. And, you know, so we've really only got 4 white 1-drops. And if we don't draw one of those and a gate, then we'll happily slam a gate. You know, we do need to have double green for Outland Colossus. So I'm playing 12 green sources because we got the 2 check lands, the 4 gates, and just the 6 forests. So deck's been doing good. You know, still this card gets on my nerves. Anyways, that is Selesnya around. Gonna take it out for a spin now shortly, and we'll see you in the game. Thanks for watching.